Hare Krishna. First of all, wishing you a spiritually prosperous new year for 2026. And so today is the 1st of January, by coincidence, as we are talking with you today. And Srila Gurudev, and we know that on more than one occasion, emphasized that this day of the 1st of January, when we have a little time to reflect on the last year and to think about the future year, then he gave emphasis on more than one occasion that we should analyze how well we're doing in the path of Sharanagati, surrender. Are we doing what we want to do, or are we doing what the devotees and hence the Lord wants us to do? So, how are we proceeding? We're proceeding under the guidance of the devotees, and specifically under the guidance of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and all of them are presenting us Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and our Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. So in this line, we are coming to you. We are not masters, we are students of those great masters. And the reflection about Sharanagati, about surrender, is emphasized within the book Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam, the life nectar of the surrendered souls, positive and progressive immortality. So Srila Guru Maharaj, he made this book, he brought this book together as he explains elsewhere, and perhaps in the introduction, I'm not sure, but he explains that he had to do much self-reflection himself after the breakdown of the Chaitanya Mat mission, which was established by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, with all the quarreling, fighting between the devotees there. Srila Guru Maharaj withdrew from there after 4 years, and he said, I could not stay with those quarreling gentlemen, so giving respect from a distance. Then Srila Guru Maharaj withdrew and made this book about the reflections on why he came to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's lotus feet and gave his life to his lotus feet. So Srila Gurudev emphasized that especially on this day of particular reflection, we can read the Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam with attention, attentively read. So I'm going to read from the very first chapter, and the first chapter is principally verses composed directly by Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, and giving his humble invocation and giving some introduction of what is going to take place throughout the Prapanna Jivanamritam. So the first chapter, well, first of all, give honor to the book as we do, Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam Ki Jai, and honor to its author, and that is Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So the first chapter is called Upakramamritam, the prelude to approaching nectar. So I'll read you just one or two of the verses, but we'll focus on the translation, because that's, the important thing. With attention, as Gurudev says, attentively, we must try to read. Yes, the Sanskrit, but this is a short broadcast that we do twice a week, and I'm told I should keep it within 15 minutes, a little bit unsuccessful in that regard, perhaps I am. However, here we are, Srila Guru Maharaj giving an introduction to his own composition, the first verse. So, Ata Mangala Charanam, auspicious invocation. And Srila Guru Maharaj saying, Shri Guru Gaura Gandharva Govindangringanai Saha Vande Prasadato Jeshang Sarvarambaha Shubhankaraha. So I make my obeisance unto the lotus feet of my divine master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Gandharva Giridhari, Sri Radha and Krishna, and their associates. By their grace, all endeavors are successful. And remember, Srila Guru Maharaj, he brought this book together, made this book, after he'd come out from the Gaudiya mission and before he'd established Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. So he was in a straw hut, in a simple hut, or in a cottage actually, near the banks of the Ganges, and staying reclusively and reflecting. So the deities here, he's referring to, so my obeisance is to my divine master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and Sri Gandhava Giridhari. And these are the deities in the principal temple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the headquarters in Mayapur. And so this is before Chaitanya Saraswat Math was established and before Sri Guru Gauranga Gandhava Govinda Sundar in the temple there, of course, were established, were manifested. So, and their associates. So my Divine Master Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna and their associates, he's giving his obeisance. By their grace, all endeavors are successful. And then I'll read the Sanskrit of the next verse also. Gaurava Vigraham Vande Gaurangam Gaura Vaibhavam Gaura Sankirtan Matang Gaura Karunya Sundaram. I make my obeisances unto the deity Gaura Saraswati, the personified message of the Golden Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I make my obeisances unto the deity Gaura Saraswati, whose bodily luster is of a beautiful golden hue, like that of the self-same Lord Gaura Sundar, who is the personal expansion of that Supreme Lord Gaura Hari, who is always intoxicated by preaching the message of that golden Lord, and whose divine beauty blooms in the revelation of Lord Gauranga's mercy potency. And we hear too that this can, as Sanskrit can be shown in different ways, the meaning that this can be referring to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his Gurudev. So I make my obeisance unto the deity Gaura Saraswati, whose bodily luster is of a beautiful golden hue, like that of the self-same Lord Gauranga Sundar, who is the personal expansion of that Supreme Lord Gaura Hari, who is always intoxicated by preaching the message of that golden Lord, and whose divine beauty blooms in the revelation of Lord Gauranga's mercy potency. All right. And then one more verse, I'll give you the Sanskrit, and then I'll try to flow in the English as earlier promised. Guru Rupa Haring Gaurang Radha Ruchi Ruchavritam Nityang Naumi Navadipe Nama Kirtana Natanai. Perpetually do I sing the glories of Lord Gauranga, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, embraced by the heart and halo of Sri Radhika, and who has descended as the Divine Master. In this holy abode of Sri Navadip Dham, he is absorbed in the pastimes of profusely chanting the holy names, dancing in ecstasy. All right, then I'm going to just continue reading. Remember, this is the introduction to Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam. And I hope that you, like myself, after reading this, you will feel compelled to keep reading Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam over these coming days until we get to the end of it. Because once we start a book, we should keep going. And Gurudev has emphasized this book, especially at this time. So this is Srila Guru Maharaj continued. Again and again I make my obeisance unto the eternal personal servitors of my Divine Master, who drink the nectar of his lotus feet. I pray they may be graciously pleased in tasting this life nectar of the surrendered souls. Then Srila Guru Maharaj introducing his next verse. a humble petition. And the verse is, despite my disqualification, for the satisfaction of the pure devotees, I have compiled in this book an anthology of stanzas that are well established by our predecessors. And then he quotes a verse from Sri Rupa Goswami, perhaps, or did he write? I'm not sure exactly. Oh, this is from a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Guru Maharaj is quoting. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is, even if every stanza is imperfectly composed, that is, unlucidly expressed, so even if that is the case, the sins of the people are totally vanquished by those expressions or books in which the glorious holy names of the infinite Supreme Lord are described. Since the pure devotees hear those holy names from a qualified preacher, they solitarily sing those holy names even in the absence of others, and they chant the unending glories of those holy names in the presence of a deserving listener. And then a quote from Sri Rupa Goswami, beginning with Abhi Vyakta Mataha Prakriti. O learned personalities, this treatise composed of the divine qualities of Lord Hari, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, will fulfill your cherished wishes, despite the fact that it is presented by me, a very insignificant person. Does not the fire ignited from pieces of wood rubbed together by a low-born barbarian dissipate the impurities in gold? Fire is fire. Then Srila Guru Maharaj saying, as Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has in his humility expressed that gold can be purified with fire lit by a barbarian, similarly, the pure devotees' grief born of their separation from the Lord may also be dispelled by this book, which will light the lamp of their divine love for the Lord. And Srila Guru Maharaj continuing, O saintly devotees, please purify this wrongdoer who on the pretext of saintliness desires in his heart the prestige of a poet, and who is thus afflicted with the practically incurable disease of insincerity. This is Guru Maharaj, very humble. Petition continuing. And Srila Guru Maharaj continuing. Tidings of Lord Krishna are naturally very dear to the devotees, and tidings of the Lord's devotees are also dear to him. Since narratives of both the Supreme Lord and his devotees can be found within this book, I have hope, O pure devotees, that you may be propitiated hereby. So narratives by the devotees and by the Lord. O pure devotees, by your natural divine grace, kindly purify me of all ill motives, offenses, and accept this treatise. Certainly you will do so, because you are the ocean of causeless mercy. So now Srila Guru Maharaj introduces the book. So he's made the humble petition, humble prayers, and now Srila Guru Maharaj is introducing the book. Introduction to the book. The substance expressed within the 10 chapters of this holy book, called Prapanna Jivanamritam, gives life to the surrendered souls, affecting their eternal growth and nourishment. It is the panacea of the heart and the spiritual senses, bestowing those dedicated devotees mutual happiness by the ever-increasingly newer and newer play of supramundane joy, aprakrita rasa. Lord Krishna and his associates are portrayed in their natural pastimes of separation and union, and the line of unconditional surrender as established by scriptures and saints has been elucidated. Now Srila Guru Maharaj is expressing carefully, he's saying, carefully compiled in this book. So remember, this is the book that Srila Gurudev is recommending, instructing, giving us guidance to read carefully, especially at this time. And Guru Maharaj, the compiler and giver, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, is telling us, carefully compiled in this book is the nectar of the deep, heart-revealing, transcendental messages of those devotees whose hearts are unalloyed, who are servitors of the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna, who perform their every act for Krishna, who are filled with the insatiable desire exclusively in love of Krishna and sustain their lives on Krishna's remnants alone, who desire only Krishna's pleasure and serve the servants of Krishna, whose hearts burn in separation of Krishna and overflow with ecstasy in the association of Krishna, whose relative and friend is Krishna, and whose one and only beloved is Krishna. So that's the words of such persons, that caliber of persons. Srila Guru Maharaj is expressing their heartfelt expressions in this book. So along with these expressions of the devotees are carefully collected the words of supreme nectar springing directly from the lotus mouth of Lord Govinda, who vanquish the heartbreak of the devotees, which fulfill the devotees' hopes and earnest aspirations, which destroy all doubt and sever the knot of ignorance, which are dazzling with transcendental wisdom and astonishing the heart by miraculous waves of divine rapture, which are the great panacea for the devotee's heart afflicted with the piercing pangs of separation, which are incited wholly for the devotee, irrespective of his qualification or disqualification, so much so that the Lord is bound by his pledge to give himself to his devotee, and which openly proclaim with great ecstasy that his very nature is to be subjugated solely by the affection of his devotee, reassuring his devotees in all circumstances. Then Srila Guru Maharaj saying, O pure and spotless devotees, may you drink deeply the quintessence of these divine elixirs. And that is Srila Guru Maharaj's initial introduction to the book. And then he continues to give chapter summaries of chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, in a very systematic way, ontological way. We learnt this word actually from Guru Maharaj. We heard it from him and then had to look up this ontological, step-by-step, progressive departments of Sharanagati, the progressive path of Sharanagati and the journey home to the place of the most surrendered souls, that is Goloka Vrindavan. So it is a super compilation, and we know this in particular from Srila Guru Maharaj, from Srila Gurudev, who knows the scriptures inside and out, and who has given us this recognition of Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam as a great treasure for us, most important for us as students, as sevakas, and for the pure devotees. It is their nourishment also. So for all devotees, this is our few minutes today to encourage that we each carry out Srila Gurudev's wish, his guidance, that at this time especially to read Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam attentively. These are my few words. Happy to be with you, and with my obeisances to you all, and my jais, my all glories to Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, our Sri Rupanuga Guru Vaga, and all glories to all of the devotees worldwide. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda, Govinda.